Good morning and welcome to Take Your Life Back Today show. Today we are going to talk about heroin abuse and addiction warning signs. These are the signs of any possible heroin usage or any addiction usage signs. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Dr. Luis Gonzalez from StartingPointMN.com. You can reach him at 844-414-8444. He will walk with you from your recovery to your addiction, step by step, hand in hand, 24 hours at a time, one day at a time, today and tomorrow. He will never ever worry about yesterday. He will not bring up yesterday. He is not a counselor or a therapist. He is, in fact, an addiction recovery coach, as am I. And his job is to make sure that you, for today, are going to tackle your recovery, and he will help you. He will never ever bring up your past. And let's face it, talking about your past sometimes can be very uncomfortable, and if thought about too much, sometimes can cause triggers and also relapses. So we, as addiction recovery coaches, worry about today and we worry about tomorrow. We never ever worry about yesterday at all. Dr. Luis Gonzalez can be reached at www.startingpointmn.com, also at 844-414-8444. That's Dr. Luis Gonzalez from startingpointmn.com. On the other side of his business, he also has an addiction recovery coaching program. He can turn you into an addiction recovery coach. If you have passion, professionalism, and personality, and you have an addiction background, whether it's battling your own or helping other people, contact him at 844-414-8444. Also want to give a shout out to globaleyeglasses.com, where they are focused on saving you money. Over at Global Eyeglasses, you can get frames for as low as $6 to go all the way up to about $69. And those frames include cases, they include cloths, they also include single vision, standard, plastic, non-coated lenses. Those are included. Now, if you need progressives, they have them. If you need transitions, they have them. If you need photochromatics, they have them. They have polarized. They have lenses to make your thick lenses even thinner. Excuse me one second. There we go. They also have, what did we discuss now? We have the photochromatic, we have the transitions, we have progressive, they have the line bifocals. They have so many different types of frames, about 1,200 selections. If you go to www.globaleyeglasses.com, let them focus on saving you money. And folks, here's the great thing. Not only am I your addiction recovery coach, not only am I your life coach that you watch daily, I am also a person with 30 years of optometry business experience. So like so many of you have contacted me, 631-599-0218, that's a text, or called me at 844-405-HELP. I have helped you place your order because I can help you select the proper frame, the proper lenses, and make sure that you will be able to see properly. So reach out and let Global Eyeglasses save you money, because that's what they focus on. We're going to talk about heroin abuse on or addiction warning signs, and these are important. I'm going to go through these twice because I want you to write them down, so please go get a pen and pencil, because there are signs of any alcohol abuse, of any drug abuse, but these are basically signs of any addiction or heroin. If you start seeing people suddenly behave differently than they used to behave or usually behave, that is considered something to watch out for, because sudden changes in behavior is a sign of addiction. If their movement is slower than usual or uncoordinated, that is a sure sign of possible addiction or heroin usage. If they're disorientated, in other words, they're a little flabbergasted, certainly could be a sign. If they are extra alert, too much alert, jitteriness, hyper, that could be a sign of abuse also. If they excessive or sudden sleeping, let me just turn this a little bit, or sudden sleeping, that surely could be a sign. If they're sleeping a lot or suddenly they just pass out and go to sleep. The lighting is terrible today because we're getting in New York another snowstorm, so I have to accommodate the lighting here in the living room. If they have sudden itchiness, I should say, their picking at their skin, that could be a sure sign also. If they have little motivation, nothing motivates them, they seem to be serious or depressed about everything, that is a sure sign. If they are hostile towards others, everything is argumentative with them, another sure sign. If suddenly they become deceitful, they do lying, they sneak around, that could be a sign also. If they avoid eye contact when you speak to them, you know, I always said that the eyes are the windows to your soul. And one thing I don't like is when I speak to people and they don't make eye contact with me. Well, this is a sure sign of addiction on some people, especially if you know these people have always looked into your eyes, but now suddenly they're not. Lack of hygiene. Suddenly they're not washing them or shaving themselves anymore. That is a sure sign. Withdraw from friends. Friends that have been around forever and ever, suddenly now they're withdrawing from these friends. Spending a lot of time with new friends. What are these new friends doing? Are they possibly helping the situation by providing alcohol and drugs? Wearing long pants or long sleeves. That is a sure sign because they're covering up needle marks. Suddenly wearing sunglasses to cover up their red eyes, maybe their glassy eyes is a sure sign. Indirect warning signs of heroin use is this topic. These are examples. Indirect warning signs of heroin use. Large increase of mileage on the car because they're making those extra trips to pick up their fix from the local heroin dealer. So pay attention. Missing RX pills. Sometimes an entire bottle goes disappearing from your medicine cabinet. Missing money or items in your house is an indirect warning sign of heroin use. Tiny orange caps from syringes and in the trash can or possibly laying around the house, that could be a sure sign of heroin abuse. Spoons with burn marks on them. You go into your silverware and suddenly you see a spoon that might be a little bent or possibly has burn marks. That is a sure sign. Extra gum wrappers or aluminum foil with burn marks on them in your garbage. You happen to be going to throw something into the garbage and you see aluminum foil or gum wrappers and they have burn marks. Let's see. Missing shoelaces used to tie off the injection site. They wrap it around the arm like you see in the movies, and that's what they're using. So rubber straps or bands in the house, a lot of them, they are suddenly using them to cut off, tie off the injection site. Empty plastic pen cases. In other words, they took the ink from the inside out. They might be using that for snorting crack and cocaine. Small plastic bags used to transport the drugs, you know, those little Ziplocs, I mean really little ones, they might be transporting the drugs. Water pipes or other pipes, they might be using them for inhaling, otherwise known as what they call them, bongs and hookahs. Extra bottles of water used for mixing and the cap used for heating, that is a sure sign. Extra razor blades, ID cards, credit cards, sitting around the house suddenly for no particular reason. Maybe they left them on the kitchen table or on the counter. They might be cutting some drugs with that. Extra nasal spray, they might be, you know, suddenly you see 2-3 bottles in your mouth. They might be using that for snorting. And small cotton balls, Q-tips, used after injections, so they want to clean themselves up. Those are the indirect warning signs of heroin use. Now let's go again and cover heroin abuse or addiction warning signs. These are the signs. Number 1, sudden changes in behavior. Person has always behaved a certain way, and suddenly you start noticing that this person is totally changing their behavior patterns. That is a sure sign. Movement is slowed or uncoordinated. You know, they seem to be not themselves pay attention because that could be a sign. Another sign could be they're disorientated. They're kind of like standing there and looking around, a sure sign. A sure sign could also be extreme alertness, jitterness, hyper. That could be a sure sign. Another one is excessive or sudden sleeping. Sometimes they'll go to sleep the night and sleep the whole next day away. That is another sure sign. Another one would be itchiness, pricking at the skin. That would be another sure sign. The speech is slurred. Definitely a sign. And it's not just for heroin abuse or addiction warnings. It could be just for even simple drinks, which is an addiction actually. Very little motivation. No matter what you suggest, let's go for a run, let's go to the mall, let's go to the supermarket. No motivation coming from that end, sure sign. Hostility towards others. No matter what you say, they want to argue about it. They're very argumentative. That is a sure sign. Lying, sneakiness, deceitful. Those are all signs of either heroin abuse or addiction warning signs. Avoiding eye contact, a sure sign. Remember my saying, the eyes are the windows to the soul. If these people have always made eye contact and then suddenly lately they haven't, that is a sure sign. Lack of hygiene. Suddenly their nails are getting all long and dirty and they're not combing their hair and they're not shaving. Those are sure signs because that goes hand in hand with they don't have the motivation to do it. Withdraw from friends. Friends that have been around forever, suddenly now they're moving away from those friends, and which goes right to the next one, which is now suddenly they have brand new friends that came out of nowhere. Those friends might be supporting them with alcohol and drugs. If they start wearing long pants and long sleeves is a sure sign because they might be covering up needle marks, especially in the middle of the summer. Why are they wearing long pants and long sleeves? Suddenly wearing sunglasses. They hardly ever wore sunglasses before, but now suddenly they're doing it. Why is that? They're probably covering up the red eyes and the glassy eyes. These are indirect warning signs of heroin use. This is basically based on heroin use. Large increase of mileage on the car suddenly you notice. They might be making those extra trips to pick up their heroin. You start noticing that in your medicine cabinet not only are pills missing, but sometimes bottles of pills are going missing. That is a sure sign of heroin use. Missing money, missing jewelry, missing anything in a house are sure signs because they need to supplement the cost of their drug addiction. And they will either steal the money or steal the jewelry to go porn or steal the TV to go porn it. Sure sign. Needles and syringes in the sock drawer. You go after you just did the laundry and you're putting your husband or wife's underwear or socks away and suddenly you find needles and syringes. That's a sure sign because why else would they have needles or syringes in there? Tiny orange caps from syringes in the trash can. When you go put it in the garbage and you notice, you're like, why are all these little yellow caps on there? And they look like they came from syringes or needles. Sure sign. You go to get a spoon to mix your coffee and you notice that there are spoons that either are bent and or have burnt marks on them. That is a sure sign of heroin abuse. Missing shoelaces. What people are doing is using the shoelaces to tie off the injection site. A sure sign. Extra gum wrappers or aluminum foil in the garbage, suddenly you notice, with burn marks. Those are all sure signs. Rubber straps or bands in the house, laying maybe in the drawers or maybe in his office or her office. Those are sure signs because they use those to cut off the injection sites. Empty plastic pen cases. They took the ink tube out. Those are sure signs because they use them for snorting. Small plastic bags about this big. Those are used to transport the drugs from point A to point B. That is another sure sign. Water pipes or other pipes, they use them to inhale or to suck through, otherwise known as bongs or hookahs. Extra bottles of water used for mixing and the cap used for heating. These are all sure signs. Rolled up dollar bill. You know, like you see in the movies, they always have that drug dealers with the hundreds. If you see rolled up dollar bills, why would a person roll up a dollar bill other than possibly snorting? Extra razor blades, ID cards, credit cards, you just see willy-nilly laying around the house. They're probably using them to cut to coke or cut drugs with them. Extra nasal spray, suddenly you see 2-3 in the medicine cabinet or in the bedroom. They're probably using that to snort. Small cotton balls, Q-tips, used prior to injecting the drugs and then after to clean up the injection. These are the sure signs of, warning signs of heroin use, folks. And I hope you wrote these down. But I'm going to do real quick one more time. Sudden changes of behavior, movement in slowed or uncoordinated, disorientated, extreme alertness, jitterness, excessive or sudden sleeping, itchiness, pricking of the skin, speech is slurred, very little motivation, hostility towards others, lying, sneaking, avoiding eye contact, lack of hygiene, withdrawing from friends, making new friends suddenly, wearing long pants, long sleeves, suddenly wearing sunglasses. That was signs of addiction warnings. These are indirect warning signs of heroin use, large increase of mileage on a car because they're going from point A to point B a lot more, missing RX pills or entire bottles, missing money, jewelry, TVs, stereos, sure sign. Needles and syringes in the sock drawer that you found are sure signs. Tiny orange caps from syringes in the trash can. You happen to be looking in the trash and then you saw that. Spoons with burn marks or slightly bent are sure signs. Extra gum wrappers or aluminum foil in the trash can is a sure sign. Missing shoelaces from sneakers or shoes. They use them to tie as a tie off for the injection site. Rubber straps or bolts in the house. Rubber straps or bands, rubber bands in the house. They use that also to cut off the injection site. Supplied plastic pen cases, a lot of them sitting around, there's no pen tubes in there. They use that to snort. Water pipes or other pipes, they use that to inhale. Extra bottles of water, they use that for mixing and also to heat. Extra razor blades, ID cards, credit cards laying around the house willy-nilly. They're using that to cut the drugs. Extra nasal spray, suddenly you see 2-3 bottles, they're using that to inhale or snort. And small cotton balls and Q-tips, they use that prior to injection and after injection to clean up. These are all signs of either heroin and or drug addiction. These are the signs, and if you are a husband or a wife or mother or father and you see some of these, pay very much attention, because whoever is doing this, whoever is changing their behavior suddenly, whoever is slow and uncoordinated, whoever is disorientated, whoever has lack of motivation, whoever's hygiene is falling apart, whoever is avoiding eye contact, if you have things missing in your house suddenly, spending a lot of time with new friends, whoever's doing that, eliminated the older friends. If you have anybody in your household or a loved one at all that's showing these signs, do something about it, and do something about it quickly. Talk to that person, go to the person and say, listen, how is it that I can help you? Or is there anything we need to talk about or you want to talk about? Remember, it's very important that me, as an addiction recovery coach, that out of 100%, 80% of the time is for my listening ears, and then 20% of the time is for talking. Although I do a lot of talking on these videos, but that's my way of getting to you in your living room, into your kitchen, into the homeless shelters, into the jails, into the nursing homes. But as an addiction recovery coach, my main function is doing 80% of the time of putting my big listening ears on to hear what you have to say. So if you want to pre-qualify somebody you might suspect, listen, look and listen for these signs, and then move accordingly. It is so important that you do that. Speak to them, ask them if there's anything you can do to help them. Try to not accommodate them by leaving the money. Don't enable them by leaving the money or giving them money. If you see things missing in your home, proceed with caution, but find out what's going on. But it is so important that you, as the sober person, help the addicted person. Help whoever it might be. It might even be your children. I don't know. But it is up to you to help. I hope to God that whoever you are out there that is watching me, and you know that you even personally have these signs going on, that you do something about it. Because sometimes in life things go too quick and it's too late for change. Only now, as you sit there watching me, is the only time that you know that you are guaranteed on earth. You're not even guaranteed 5 minutes from now. I'm not guaranteed that. I could be very easily sitting here doing my video, talking to you, my audience, and suddenly drop dead. And that can happen to anyone, anytime. So if you want to change your life, do it now, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. As you and I are sitting here looking at each other, there is someone on earth closing their eyes for the last time, breathing for the last time. Don't let that become you. If you have these signs, or if you're watching and you know somebody in your house that has these signs, help them. Throw the life preserver to them. Help take their life back. And if you are the person that has these issues, take your life back. Contact me at 844-405-HELP or text me at 631-599-0218 and let me help take your life back. Make the changes today. It all starts with you saying, I have a problem. There is no shame in admitting you have an addiction problem. If anything, people will respect you more for admitting you have one and seeking help than continuously going through your life doing drugs and alcohol, continuously thinking that nobody sees what you're doing, continuously thinking that nobody knows what you're doing, when in fact everybody sees. Everybody can see you're disorientated. Everybody can see you're uncoordinated. Everybody can hear your speech is slurred. Everybody sees your behavioral changes. Everybody sees that you're not being honest. Everybody notices that you don't make eye contact with them. Everybody has noticed that your hygiene has become less than desirable. Everybody notices that when it's 90 degrees out, you are wearing long sleeves. If this is you that I'm talking to, make the change and make it now. I beg of you to make it. Take your life back. Folks, we all hit rock bottom sooner or later. We all have to face that fork in the road. Make the right decision and go down the right path in life. It is never too late for change. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past. It doesn't. You cannot change that. You can learn from that. What matters is what you do today and go forward. That is what matters. That is what is most important for you to do. It is people like Dr. Luis Gonzalez, people like myself that are addiction recovery coaches and life coaches that are here for support. It is the AAs that are here, the NAs that are here. It is the treatment centers, the rehab centers. The list is so long for support for you. But it takes you to make that first move. It takes you to make that first move. Remember, you can take the horse to the water, but you cannot make him drink. I can sit here and tell you over and over and over again how great sobriety is, how your life becomes better spiritually, physically, mentally, financially. I can tell you all that, but you are not going to ever experience any of it until you make that change. But I am here 24/7, every day, 7 days a week, 12 months of a year, 52 weeks a year. I'm here all the time for you to get help, but make the first move. Text me at 631-599-0218. Call me at 844-405-HELP, and let me help take your life, because remember, a sober today, I guarantee you will make it better tomorrow. I guarantee that. If you start thinking positive, positive things will happen in your life. That is a promise. You will see positive results from thinking positive. And remember that all changes, even if today's the first day for you to make that change, all big changes start with small little steps. Step by step, you will see the rewards from sobriety. You will see physical changes, mental changes, financial changes because you're not spending on drugs anymore, and spiritual changes because you're reaching for your higher power for guidance and direction. Please educate your children, your grandchildren, to say no to drugs and alcohol. You say no to drugs and alcohol. Together, all of us become soldiers of sobriety. We will fight and fight and fight for each and every one to eliminate their addiction to drugs and alcohol. The epidemic is so huge, not only in the United States but in the global market, that we need to support each other. We need to support each other as humans, whether addicted or not. We are brothers and sisters in God's eyes. Let's all come together as a community and help one another. Folks, I hope to God you have a great day, but more importantly, I hope to God you have a sober day. And let me help take your life back. Contact me at 844-405-HELP or text me at 631-599-0218. Please say no to drugs and alcohol and make God great.